Welcome to the question of the day. Today's question is from Brandon, Jordan, and Dale in Louisiana. And they ask, we're starting to experience the post-holiday objection. People blew their budgets at Christmas and now don't have the money to move forward today. How do we not push too hard? This is a great question and very timely because this is hitting the Hondel household right now as well. I'm looking at December's budget and what we did, and I'm realizing my kids are really spoiled and we did a lot for them. And I'm looking at the January budget and I'm really in like belt tightening mode, right? Like beans and rice all around for the month of January. So, like, this is a real thing. Customers are experiencing this as well. And so, what do we do? Now, this doesn't mean, because it's a reality, that we just give up. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over a number of strategies. None of these are a silver bullet, but they are a ton of golden BBs that are going to create opportunities for us to move this forward. But there's one theme I want you to keep in mind as we're going through this. That theme is you can say anything you want as long as you say it respectfully. You can say anything you want as long as you say it respectfully. If you do that, you won't be salesy. If you feel salesy, if the things you're saying make you feel salesy and you're coming off salesy, just stop. Don't do that anymore. What that means is we don't have the strategies to not be salesy because you can say anything you want as long as you say it respectfully. Now, early in my sales career, I started selling used cars. I sold used Subarus, and I had no strategies whatsoever. But I'm a rule follower. Like my boss would say, close deals, and so I would close deals, right? My boss would say, dig in and hammer harder. I would get a bigger hammer and I would hammer harder. But I didn't have any strategies per se. And so this even started to manifest in my career where I started to see success. I was selling a lot of cars, but I remember the GM one day, he pulled me into his office and it was like this awkward conversation of like, hey, you're having a really good month. You're selling a lot of cars. But I also noticed you're getting a lot of negative Google reviews, right? And so it was kind of like this, like, hey, stop getting the bad reviews, but keep selling cars kind of conversation, right? And that conversation came up because I didn't have any strategies. My strategy was get a bigger hammer and hammer harder. And so that created a lot of upset customers. And this even manifested one time where I had a customer and I had a lot of new people that I was taking under my wing at the time as well. And so this customer, I was going to show the other newer salespeople like how this is done, right? So this gentleman was buying the car, and so I was presenting, and I was hammering on him to buy a service contract, and I didn't have any strategies other than just hammer on him, just right. And in hindsight, I'm embarrassed about this. This was poor sales, and I remember the guy got so frustrated he just got up and walked away from the whole thing. And that was the moment, though, that it clicked for me that there's a better way to do this. That if you have strategies and you treat your customers with respect, you can still get the sales without being salesy. And so I share this with you as a learning moment that if you're feeling salesy, stop because there's a better way to do it. And in fact, we're going to go over a number of strategies today of how you can do this and still dig in and still try to move these things forward, but do it respectfully. So the first thing I would say is mindset. So your mindset on this. So if this is that post-holiday objection, customers don't have money right now. Think about this though. They're calling you out to their house post-holidays here. They are taking time off work. They are clearing time in their schedule. They are having a stranger come into their home, which is their most sacred place. They're buying. They are buying. It's just, are they buying today and are they buying from you? But they are buying. It's at least in their mind that if everything lines up, all the boxes checked, they're going to buy. So no one has that stranger come out to their home unless they're serious about buying. Now, often they'll say they're not buying. They'll say, hey, we're just getting started, just starting to look around, like we're probably not buying for a few months, or they'll say something like that. But the reality is, nobody does this. Nobody starts taking action. Nobody takes time out of their day. Nobody invites a stranger into their home unless they're serious about moving forward. The sad thing is this is a defense mechanism. And I do it too. I do it as a consumer as well because we don't like being sold to. And we've had bad experiences with salespeople. And so we put that guard up right away saying, hey, I don't want to be sold to. Hey, I'm just starting to think about this, just starting to look around. And so the reality is the mindset is we have to know they are buying. They can buy, they will buy if I do my job. They can buy, they will buy if I do my job. That's the big key there. Have that mindset of if I do my job, they are going to move forward. But don't have the poor mindset of like, well, nobody's buying. It's post holidays. We don't have any money. Like, no, they're calling you out because they're serious about moving forward. It's just, are they going to buy today and are they going to buy from you? So mindset. Second thing I want you to do is I want you to check your process. And so here's a couple of things. Do you, one, have a defined process? And defined means you could email it to me right now, right? Like it's written down. Like if you look at the NFL, they got playbooks. Like the plays are written down, right? Like they can go to that playbook and say, this is the play. This is exactly what everybody does. Do you have a defined process like that? If you do have a defined process, do you have a scorecard that goes with it, right? So that when you're executing your calls, you can look at that scorecard and see, what are you doing well? Where are your areas of opportunity? Are you executing that process as good as you possibly can? Because that's the first thing, is building value through our process. And then on top of that, are you having ride-alongs? Are you having a sales leader ride along with you to identify blind spots? Because it's one thing for me to sit down and have a process and look at my scorecard and identify what I'm doing well and where my opportunities are. But having a sales leader ride along, they're going to see things that I don't see. And that's where the real progress is going to happen, is when they see those things and I can improve upon those things. Very first thing I say when I come out for an objection boot camp, first thing I say is, you got to have a really good process. And I say that because everybody says objections is an issue. And I have had that experience where I go out to a company because they're like, hey, we struggle with objections. We want to do an objection boot camp. And then I get there and I realize, well, yeah, you struggle with objections. Your process stinks. There's no value being built in your process. If you have a poor process, of course, you're going to get lots of objections. And there's absolutely nothing I'm going to go over in that boot camp that's going to solve for a bad process up front. So check your process. That's number two. Check your process. Are we building value in that process? Now, number three, are we weaving into that process why my company's awesome? Do you know why your company's awesome? If you don't know why your company's awesome, how's the customer supposed to know why you're awesome? So an exercise I would do along with that is brainstorm with your team. Why is our company awesome? Why are we better than our competitors? Brainstorm a whole host of reasons why you're awesome. And then start prioritizing those based on which ones are tangible and non-tangible. And here's what I mean by that. Some of these are tangible. Like if you got a 4.9 Google score with 5,000 reviews and that's head and shoulders above the competition, that's tangible. Customer can look at that and they can see you scored this, everybody else scored that, right? Saying something like, well, we do good quality work. Although it may be true, your competitors all say that too. And I, as a customer, I can't differentiate that until the work's actually done. So brainstorm those reasons. Identify which ones are tangible. Weave that into your process so that customers know your company is awesome. Next thing would be do the same thing with today. Today is the best time to buy. It really is. That's true. What changes is the reasons. Why is today the best time to buy? And I would do the same exercise with my team. Brainstorm, why is today the best time to buy? And as you come up with those reasons, start weaving those into your process. That today is the best time to buy. This is going to start creating urgency. This could be pricing, this could be promos, this could be openings, but there's a whole host of reasons. But today is the best time to buy, and then weave those reasons into your process. So now, to go back a little bit, I have a rock solid process that's building value. I'm establishing that my company's awesome and I'm awesome because I work at my company, right? And I'm establishing that today is the best time to buy. I'm building value in all of those things. If I'm doing that up front, that's going to do a lot to combat the post-holiday objection here. So next, I would dig into what is the objection, right? So if the customer doesn't want to move forward, are we asking why? And are we asking it respectfully? So here's how I ask why respectfully. When a customer says, nah, I'm not going to move forward today, I ask, well, if you don't mind me asking, what concerns you about moving forward today? 9 times out of 10, that identifies the objection for me. And that's the first step to moving past an objection, is identifying what it is. If they say, well, it's the price, or it's a price versus a competitor, or my spouse isn't here, those are all things I can solve for, right? So I have to identify that objection by respectfully asking, well, what concerns you about moving forward today? Next, let's say later time, because that's what hinges on this post-holiday objection, right? So commonly, that's probably what's going to come up when I say, what concerns you about moving forward today? They're going to say, well, it's post-holidays. We're going to do this at a later time, right? So here's what I have to do then. If they're pushing for a later time, I have to ask these questions. What is the time frame you're looking to get this accomplished? And honestly, it really doesn't matter what the answer is. If they say a week, if they say a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever. But now I've established what that time frame is in their mind. So if they're saying it's a later time, we have to do this at a later time, post holidays, don't have the money right now. First question I'm going to ask is, well, what's the time frame you're looking to get this accomplished? Next question I'm going to ask is, well, if you don't mind me asking, what's going to change between now and then? And let them answer what's going to change, because that's going to create an opportunity there for me to solve for their problem. Now, based on this one here, I'm going to get specific to that post-holiday objection. They're going to say, well, I just don't have the money right now because it's post-holidays. I blew my budget in December and I don't have the money for this right now. So this is where I lean back into those today reasons, why today is the best time to buy. If I did those up front, now it doesn't seem like I'm trying to just scrape this together at the end. It's not reactive. I was proactive because I established those things before those objections even came up. But I can lean back into those of why today is the best time to buy. And specifically, one thing that I can lean into then is if it really is like, man, I blew my budget in December, I can't afford it right now. Well, that's why we have financing. And that's your next golden BB, financing. Lean into your financing. Financing allows you to get the solution you need at a payment you can afford. Allows you to get the solution you need at a payment you can afford. It allows that customer to lock in today's pricing, that best price today. It allows them to lock in that promo today. And often your financing even has, depending on the financing, 30, 60, 90 days, something like that until that first payment is due. So if I have a customer that is waiting for a month, well, that first payment's not even due for 30 days. And these loans are simple interest. Simple interest meaning you can pay early, you can pay extra, there's no prepayment penalty. You can pay these off early. So if it is a situation, something like, well, I blew my budget in December, I'm trying to save up the money, or tax season's coming up, I'm waiting to get that tax check or something like that. Well, great. Well, you can finance today. We can get the solution, lock in that payment, right? And get a solution you need at a payment you can afford. And then when you get that tax check, just pay it off right away because it's a simple interest loan. So lean into your financing. That's another strategy to get the solution you need at a payment you can afford. Now, we've gone over, I don't know, what is that, 7 strategies already so far. So, mindset, have the correct mindset, check your process. Why my company's awesome. Today's the best time to buy. Dig in to identify that objection. Establish if it's a later time, what's going to change between now and then lean into financing. So if we've done all of that, okay, and we've said all of those things respectfully, those are 7 attempts to move this forward. Now, if I get to a point where it's just not moving forward, then what I want to do is I want to pivot to a follow-up strategy. But I want to be careful as I go over this one because I think too often in my experience, when I ride along with sales teams in the field, too often we give up too easily without executing the first 7 strategies, and we don't want to be pushy, so we just fall right into a follow-up strategy. So I want to be careful that we're not giving up too easily. We want to do everything we can to get this across the finish line today. But if I can't, I don't want to lose it either. And so I do have to shift into a follow-up strategy. So let's say they say, well, I'm waiting for my tax money, something like that. Well, now I want to gather some information to set up a follow-up strategy. So I would probably ask something like, well, when are you getting your taxes done? Right? And let's say they say end of February. Okay. So now I know when they're moving forward on this. That's that time frame that they're going to be moving forward is end of February. So I'm going to craft a follow-up strategy around that time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule a follow-up for when they get those taxes done. Because when they get those taxes done and they get their tax check and they're ready to move forward, I want to be in front of them. Okay, I want to maintain that connection. But what I'm going to do in addition to that is I'm going to schedule 2 other follow-up times between then. And if I do this exactly how I lay it out here, this is not going to be pushy. This is going to be respectful. So you set your follow-up time for end of February when they get their tax check. But I'm going to schedule a follow-up for tomorrow. And the follow-up is going to be simply this. It's going to be a thank you. I'm just going to call the customer and say, hey, this is Chris. I wanted to thank you for having me out yesterday. I enjoyed petting your dog Pickles. Thank you for having me out yesterday. If you do have any questions between now and the end of February, please reach out to me. Just that. That's it. I'm not trying to hard close it. I'm not trying to close it at all. I'm just thanking them. That's it. 1, this is just being a good human and being respectful to your customers. 2, it gives you another opportunity to be in front of that customer. Because sometimes your customer, we'd have went over all this stuff. They would have slept on it that night and started thinking about it. Like, oh, geez, maybe I should have moved forward. Like I could have done that financing and then paid it off right away. They started thinking about it. Now it gives me one more opportunity where I'm in front of them. Where if I'm saying, hey, thank you, and I'm not being salesy, I'm not being pushy, then they're going to say something like, hey, actually, well, I got you on the phone. I was thinking more about da-da-da-da-da. That's what I want to happen. I want that conversation to continue. So in addition to following up end of February when they're getting their tax check, follow up tomorrow with just a thank you. That's it. The other follow-up I'm going to schedule is halfway between then and now. So if they're getting their tax check end of February, that's when they want to move forward. I'm going to go halfway between today and end of February. And what I need there is I need to have a good customer reason to be calling that customer. And that call is going to sound something like this. Hey, I know you're getting your taxes done end of February. That's when you were looking to move forward. Reason I'm calling today, we actually have an opening in our schedule. And my boss is driving him nuts because he's trying to keep our install team working. He's discounting $1,000 to anybody that takes that spot. I thought of you right away. I know you're not getting your check until end of February, but you could save $1,000 by taking this spot here. We do still have that financing available. Thought of you guys right away. That may be another attempt where I acknowledged, yes, end of February, but I saw an opportunity and I'm working on your behalf to present you with that opportunity. And if you have that good customer reason, customer's never going to get mad at you. It doesn't mean they're going to go forward with it, but they're not going to get mad at you. You tried to save me $1,000. Like, how dare you? They're not going to get mad. But often now they may have thought about it more and we're closer to end of February. And they may say, yeah, you know what? Let's move forward. Let's do that financing. Then when I get my tax check, I'm just going to pay it off right away. Great. So pivot to a follow-up strategy. That's the last golden BB right there. So that's 8 strategies for the post-holiday objection. That's today's question of the day. If you are enjoying question of the day, follow, share, and give a rating. If you have a question, reach out to me either on social media or email. Both are going to be listed below in the show description. Let's get your questions answered. And if you're a Nexstar member, schedule a call with me. Let's get this addressed one-on-one. That's where today's question came from, a one-on-one call with the sales team down in Louisiana. So thank you for your question. Let's get your questions answered on the show here or in your one-on-one call. I'm Coach Chris. We'll see you tomorrow.